So, good evening, host for event Agri Expo 21 Days International Winter School Training Program organized by Utkarsh Incubation Dr. PDK Viakola in collaboration with ISA, HRD, and Just Agriculture Education Group. So, so in this, we will cover 25 plus modules related to agriculture and agripreneurship. The stakeholders, participants of this program are students, scientists, working professional, farmers, and industry persons. So in this we will discuss in detail of each topics like drone technology and agri-bots, hydroponics and polyhouse technology, rooftop farming, saffron farming, pearl culture technology, biofloc fish farming technology, poultry and piggery training, dry flower production, mushroom production, IoT and artificial intelligence, SaaS and blockchain technology. So I welcome you all without taking much of your time. So now it's my pleasure to invite our esteemed guest, Dr. A. Amrendra Reddy, sir. So before we start, I would like to introduce sir with you all. Sir is an agriculture economist and currently serves as Joint Director Crop Health Policy Sport Research at ICAR National Institute of Biotech Stress Management, Raipur, India. He earned his PhD in Agriculture Economics from ICAR Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi, and began his career with Agriculture Research Service (ARS) of the Indian Council of Agriculture Research in 2001. Starting at ICR IIPR Kanpur, he has focused on agriculture economics, implementing development schemes, and evaluating government flagship programs. So I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of everyone to
Thank you, Just Agriculture for inviting me. First class, I met with you all regard and explained the how the agricultural policies evolved over the years. Uh, okay. Yes. I don't know what is your preference, whether you want to continue that, or I can do some climate change and dryland agriculture. I can, uh, I can handle both, you know.
sir, it is totally upon you. Like,
Okay. Okay, then I will. I think because whether whether they are really very much interested in these markets, policies, and all these things, then what is their interest? Let they can tell. You know.
sure, sir. So participants, we've opened the chat box. You
Ah,
can drop down your preference
yes,
and
yes. Please give us some preferences. What you want to have more insights about the agricultural policies, how the agricultural policies are working, or climate, dryland agriculture, or whatever it is. Based on that, I can explore. So climate change is most preferred thing. I think I am sharing my slides. Uh, so my slides are visible.
yes, sir, it is visual.
Okay. Okay, I will continue because in India about 50% is irrigated area, 50% is drylands, and mostly the poverty is concentrated. Poverty is mostly concentrated in rural areas. That too, drylands, uh, and they are not both government sector, government schemes, or even private sector. They are not able to reach to those farmers. Keeping that in view, because anyway, whether it's a government employee or the private sector, ultimately when we are in agriculture sector, we have to cater to this poorest of the poor households, farmer, poorest of the poor farmers. That is our main job and duty, because anyway in the irrigated areas productivity is little more, it's not little more, 2 to 3 times higher than the dryland agriculture. uh, so all the technologies are much adopted. Most of the technologies are already reached irrigated farmers. their yield potential is higher, and also they have reached a higher this productivity levels. More than 2 tons per hectare is the norm in irrigated areas, whereas the dryland areas the productivity is less than 1 ton. Most of the crops, we all know, the most of the dryland crops, millets, less than 1 ton per hectare. Pulses also nearly 1 ton per hectare. Most of the oil seeds, whether it's a mustard, soybean, whatever, they are near about 1 ton per hectare. It is not only the reason for low crop yields are not only the technology, it's also institutions. Most of the dryland areas, dryland districts, or dryland blocks are not reached by the private sector, not reached by the government side. They are neglected mostly. And of course, one exception is the cotton. Cotton technology is now, reached to most of the rural areas, most of the dryland areas. The productivity is little bit increased. So technology makes a difference in increasing yields and incomes of the farmers. Of course, the dryland farmers not only they depend on agriculture, but they also depend on all petty businesses, small businesses, or non-farm employment, migration. Most of the migration taking place from the dryland areas to the cities, to the metropolitan areas, to the Punjab and Haryana type of rich, agriculturally rich areas. So the farmers in dryland areas, their diversity of incomes are much higher. They may get about 30% of their income from agriculture, remaining 20 with 20% from livestock, some 10 to 20% from business activities, casual laborer, migration income. So much diversity of incomes are there. Otherwise, they cannot survive in these dryland areas. So this my present outline of presentation is concepts and status of dryland agriculture in world, and specifically because we have to deal specifically to some state. Otherwise we can't understand because the nitty gritty, the local issues. So I will take into some specific issues of Telangana dryland areas, so that Telangana dryland areas are also applicable to other dryland areas. Maybe they are in Karnataka, maybe they are in Uttar Pradesh or Rajasthan, wherever the problems are similar. But nation as a whole, we cannot directly, relate your own local problems with national problems. If we understand any local problems, those local problems are applicable to your local problems. The problems of drylands, solutions, managing drought, and the government initiatives. And this is my the drylands are critical for achieving, you all know sustainable development goals. Most, relevant sustainable development goals are poverty, eradication of poverty, eradication of hunger, uh, eradication of, water problems, drinking water problems. All these are all related to dryland agriculture. Uh, so 35% of the world agriculture lands are in dryland areas. Of course, in India, a little bit higher because inhabited by 27% of the world population. 27%. So world population is about 8 billion, 9 billion population now. In that, 30% are living in the dryland areas. And the most specific city of the dryland areas are world life, about 50% of the world livestock. Although they contribute only 27% of the population, 35% of the lands, but the population, this livestock population is much higher in dryland areas, 48%. And about two-third of the two-third of means about 66% of the world poor are living in dryland areas. 66%. The population is 27%, but the poor share of the poor are about 66%, huge, and with about 16% living in chronic poverty. Chronic poverty means they are hungry. They are not even getting, uh, 2 meals a day. So that is the situation. So chronic poverty, the in general poor and livestock dependence are the you know are the characteristics of the drylands. So if you see the drylands has a unparalleled challenges, smallholder farmers, they are hotspots for no climate vulnerability because most of the drylands they don't have any irrigation facilities. So their agriculture, their cropping systems, their livestock, their population dependent on the monsoon type of rains, especially in India, monsoon rains, or some other countries also monsoons. And they because they don't have resources, uh, most of the even human civilization, the most water and soil, these two are the important resources. And the together soil and water, soil moisture is very very important for drylands. So monsoons, you are seeing in India, monsoons are about 2 to 3 4 months. Monsoon rains will be there from July to October or now October. But these 3 4 months rainfall should support 12 months of livelihoods. 12 months, entire year, the livelihoods depends on this 3 4 months rainfall. That means there is a huge pressure on soils, natural resources, and water. You have to conserve that. That is most precious resource in the drylands is water. Other words, soil moisture. How to preserve, how to conserve soil moisture, that is the critical aspect of all the drylands. And overexploitation will further intensify greenhouse gases because if you are over exploiting these limited resources, there is a possibility of you know increasing this crops and livestock is exposed to the atmosphere and more emission of greenhouse gas emissions, food, nutritious food, availability of nutritious food, and all these are a problem. For example, if you see the dryland areas, so most of the drylands are predominantly dominated by the smallholder farmers. You see, so the predominant dryland, left, upper left, right side, upper left, right side photo. If you see the world picture, where is the smallholders are concentrated? Where are the more of the small farmers are there? You see, this all these red areas, red and yellow, are areas where the small farmers are predominant, like India, most of the India, even China, most of the China, and also most of the Africa. So this Africa and Asia, these two continents where the most of the smallholder farmers are there. If you see the drylands also, percentage of children under 5 who are stunted. So drylands also similar situation. Most of these drylands are located in Africa, India, and China. India and China together contributes about 80% of Asia's population. So most of the Asia and most of the Africa, where there is a concentration of smallholder farmers, and also there is a lot of stunted children, malnutrition problems. All these problems are there in these areas. So this coexistence of malnutrition and smallholder farmers and drylands across the world is showing the importance of the drylands in terms of policy issues, policies to promote uh, better nutrition, better health to these people, poorest of the poor. If you see the climate change and water scarcity, again I showed this Africa, India, and China. These are the hotbeds for low water availability, water scarcity. Whatever this red no indicates that water scarcity. Again, this red shows that water scarcity. This is Africa, and Africa to the the Eastern Asia, East means Western Asia like Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, all these places also Arab countries. Most of the Arab countries, if you go straight from Africa, western end of Africa to the straight to the east. You travel from Africa to Arabian countries to Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, then enter in India, then enter in India to all the way to the China. Most of these places are there is a lot of water scarcity. And also, very important thing is that in these areas, there is a possibility of increasing temperatures. Already temperatures are high in these areas. Average temperature is more than about 25 degrees centigrade, whereas the America, that Europe, average temperature is less than 10 degrees centigrade, whereas ours is nearly about 25 degrees centigrade. In some places like Africa, it is little more, even 30 degrees centigrade, average temperature across all the seasons. So, on top of this higher average temperature, if the temperature increases by little more 2 degrees centigrade or 1 degree centigrade, our food losses will be more, like say 20%. So, already these areas are water scarcity is there, soil moisture is not there, lot of poverty is there, malnutrition is there. All these things are there. On top of it, because of this climate change, temperature will increase further, and with this temperature increase, there is a problem of food security. The productivity, low productivity, still further will decrease. So how this entire phenomenon of water, we have to, conserving water. To conserve water, how much water is available? That is the main question. To conserve water, we have to see how much water is available. So, for example, uh, you see this uh, water balance. If you see water balance, 100% rainfall. If there is rainfall is 100 mm. Out of this 100 mm in a particular area, uh, in a particular area, 20 to 20, no, 25 to 10% will go as a runoff. As a runoff. Runoff is not 100%, it is not, it's a waste. Runoff will be used or blocked. Runoff will be stopped by check dams. You see the check dams. Check dam is here in the middle. Check CD check dam. Check dams. So if you construct a check dam, this runoff water, 10 to 25% runoff water, can be can be at least out of that, at least 5 to 10% can be stored deep into percolation or groundwater recharge. It can be used as a groundwater recharge or deep percolation. This deep percolation. For example, this no, if this out of this 100% rainfall, if 10 to 25% runoff is gone as a runoff, remaining 60 to 65% it will be stored as a soil moisture. Soil moisture. It will be stored as a soil moisture. Some will be going into deep percolation or groundwater recharge. That is about 5 to 15%. But most of the rainwater will stay in the top layers of the soil as a soil moisture. About 5 to 10, 15% will go into deep percolation and groundwater recharge. And some will go as a deep base flow, which is not may not be useful for cultivation. So all this soil moisture available and deep percolation groundwater recharge can be used, and that will be stored in groundwater aquifer. That groundwater aquifer water can be pumped out for agriculture, pumping out through dug wells or bore wells, and that can be used as an irrigation. So out of this 60-65 per soil moisture and deep percolation, groundwater, recharging of groundwater aquifers, all this will go into evapotranspiration, about 60 to 65% evaporation or transpiration. So transpiration is not a harmful waste. No, it will anyway plants will, so transpiration means what? It will soil moisture will be absorbed by the roots and it will go through the plants physiological process and it will transpire. That is not a harmful thing. But what is harmful is evaporation. If soil is exposed to the high temperature or sunlight or even just exposed without any crop cover, then most of this soil moisture will be evaporated. That is real waste. So how to reduce this evaporation? So covering the soil, covering the soil, maybe the mulching, maybe the maybe any green cover like growing crops, growing any crop to cover up entire topsoil. That will reduce most of the evaporation, or even even mulch, whether it's a plastic mulch or green mulch, whatever it is, that will also reduce evaporation. So rainfall is ultimately surface runoff, groundwater recharge, change in soil moisture, plus evapotranspiration. So this is the rainfall is utilized through the most wasteful aspect is evaporation. If we reduce the evaporation and all these processes directly or indirectly are beneficial to the agro ecosystem. So framework for water budgeting based on land use planning. So inputs. So to plan this, how to use this rainfall in a more productive way, we have to plan. How water plan? This is called water planning, based on land use planning. So water budgeting, based land use planning. For planning, you need to have database. What type of database? What is the soil type basically? If it is black soil, no? If it will store a lot of soil moisture. If it is a sandy soil, it may not store. We have to construct water harvest structures and this type of thing. And no rainfall, how much rainfall is coming, in which season, how many months it is coming, and this agroecology, what type of cropping systems are more suitable, what type of irrigation systems are there. So these are all the inputs for our planning. And quantifying hydrology in water budget. So how much of with given the given this cropping systems like rice wheat system is different from the pulse based cropping systems, like say for example arhar based cropping systems or cotton based cropping system. The evapotranspiration, crop duration, all these things vary. So we have to understand evapotranspiration going to from different cropping systems. Runoff estimation, how much is runoff taking place, what is the slope of the land, and how much is percolating into the groundwater, and what is the level of the groundwater, what is the level of base flow. So these are all needs to be understood, and there are different models nowadays. You can input all this data means what? Rainfall, cropping pattern, irrigation, all this data you input into the system. You will see how much will be the runoff, how much will be the groundwater percolation, how much is the base flow, and all these things you will get out as an output. And based on that you can assess what type of crops, new crops can be introduced. if if there is a surplus water with the construction of water harvest structure or farm pond, whatever is there, if you have built some say 5 million, some a 1/4 of acre, if you allocate if you construct a water harvest structure, then that water, how you can utilize, what new cropping systems you can introduce. For example, because there is no rainfall in Rabi season, soils are not suitable and to grow Rabi crops. If we construct a farm pond, then there is a possibility of increasing uh, the cropping intensity. In addition to the kharif crop, you can also grow rabi crop. That is one type of increasing cropping intensity, introducing no crops or introducing irrigations, supplemental irrigation in the dry lands. That is possible through this water budgeting. The another way is you can also in the farm pond or farm harvest structure, you can also introduce some fish seedlings. You can also cultivate fish raising, fish rear fish and all these things. And also if you feel that the water is not sufficient to grow full-fledged type of crops in that 4 5 acres, then you can also alternate to income generating activities like livestock. You can introduce like goats or sheep rearing, which consume less water. You can that less water which is available can be used for growing pastures or growing some green grass type of thing, uh, some hybrid grass type of thing for feeding this livestock. This type of introduce some changes in the cropping systems, income generating activities through water budgeting. In that way, hmm, you can see the what is the impact ultimately this natural resource management. What is the impact of water harvest structures, what is the impact of water harvest structure on cropping intensity or incomes from the crop, incomes from the livestock, or or incomes, additional income or alternative income generated from the fish reared in the farm pond. And ultimately how that whole village is changed, because impacts at local level, at individual level is different from impacts at village level. Village level, there may be increase in employment to all the households, because you done meticulous water planning, constructed 5 6 water farm ponds, or you constructed a big village pond to even drinking water. You can also this water can be used for drinking water, this water can be used for livestock rearing, goat or sheep or cows, or milk, again dairy farms. So there are a lot of opportunities or possibilities are there to enhance incomes, to generate employment, income generating activities through these water planning. So why we have to focus more on dry lands, whether these irrigated lands we are having about 50 percentage of our land area is not sufficient. It is irrigated area is not sufficient. Our per capita agricultural land is only 0.12 hectares, 0.12 hectares our per capita agricultural land in India, when compared to the world 0.29, double is there, but per capita land is also very less. So that is the issue. We are having less land, more population, more livestock population. So we have to use even dry lands for crops, growing of crops or livestock, all these things. And also we are seeing desertification and land degradation. Our about 30% of total geographical area is already degraded. So we have to reduce this degradation. To do all these things, we also committed for international commitment, nationally determined commitments, Paris Agreement, climate agreement. We also committed to improve our degraded land to normal land at least 26 million hectares by 2030. So that is also there. So as I mentioned already, 49% of the net zone area is under rain-fed areas, drylands, we can say. Huh? So, as per the latest figures, 40% is wholly unirrigated. 40% of our area is unirrigated. 13% of our, net zone area is partially irrigated, supplementary irrigation. But about 40 means 40 plus 13, about 53% is more or less exclusively depending on, monsoons, and about 40% of the food grains or production is coming from the rain-fed areas. How much cropping pattern in the rain-fed areas? So rice 37%, 37% of the rice is under rain-fed. Nutri-cereals, mostly cereals, cereals mostly 80% of the cereal, millets, pulses, millets, jowar, sorghum, the bajra, about 80% is under rain-fed. Pulses about 80%, again little less, because recently there is a much more concentration by the government of India to increase pulses production, oilseeds production. That's why the even farmers also increasing area under irrigation for these crops. Cotton, again 50%, 55% of the cotton area is under rainfall, means 45% is under irrigation. So, as I mentioned already, two-thirds of livestock dependent on agriculture, rain-fed areas. As I mentioned, the irrigated area productivity is 4 tons, 3 to 4 tons per hectare, whereas rain-fed areas productivity is only 1 ton per hectare. So that is the situation. So major problem is degraded soils, low organic matter, because drylands are more exposed to sunlight, high temperatures. As a result, what will happen? This organic matter will evaporate. And diverse climatic conditions, poor economic status of the farmers is a big issue, because they are getting very low yields, and they can grow only crops in Kharif season, no Rabi season, no two crops. Climate risks, there is a lot of, in the last 10 years, if you see, lot of, fluctuation in the rainfall pattern, aberrations in the rainfall pattern. Poor vegetation. So when there is a poor vegetation, what will happen? Soil is exposed to sunlight, soil is exposed to the outer temperature, soil moisture will evaporate quickly, soils will become not suitable for cultivation. Poor efficiency, poor productivity and inefficiency. Classification of drylands is very, very important. All drylands, generally we call all drylands, all rain-fed, more or less synonymous. But scientifically, there is a little slight difference. The dry cultivation, there are three classification: dry cultivation, dryland cultivation, rain-fed cultivation. When we call dry cultivation, it is the cultivation under less than 75 days growing season, like Thar desert. Only 2 to 3 months is the Thar desert. That is called dry cultivation. 2 to 3 months period, you can grow crops. Otherwise, if you miss out that 2 to 3 months, then you cannot grow. Why you can't grow? There is no moisture, there is no rainfall. This rainfall will come in only 75 days, means what? No, 1.5, 2.5 months. Within this 2.5 months, you have to complete all your agriculture operations from sowing to harvest. So that's why in these type of areas, they cannot grow any crop, because most of the crops duration is more than 3 months. So you cannot grow most of the crops. They can grow some pasture, grass for livestock. So ultimately, these areas are predominantly livestock based. You cannot grow any crop. This is called dry cultivation. So dry land cultivation is growing period is from 2.5 to 4 months. 2.5 to 4 months. 75 days to 120 days are congenial to grow any crop. So 4 months, at least one crop. Some areas at least you can grow at most one crop we can grow. Rain-fed cultivation is wherever the rainfall is more than 1150 mm, like Eastern belt. Eastern belt, Odisha, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh. This belt, even though rainfall is higher, like 1100, 1200, 1300, 1400 mm, but there is no irrigation. So this is the where there is a huge opportunity to construct farm ponds, provide supplementary irrigation, increase cropping intensity from single crop to double crop. So these there is a opportunity. Otherwise, dry cultivation in that type of situation, there is no scope for increasing cropping intensity. If there is no scope for growing crops, they can only grow pastures or some grass and that to feed the livestock. So there is scope for dairy farming, goat or sheep farming type of thing. So as I mentioned already, monsoon season, June to September, high 78%, 80% of the rainfall we'll receive. So that 80% of the rainfall, you have to, if you wish to use it next season, you have to invariably harvest this water by digging the farm ponds, increase the soil moisture, storage capacity, and all these things. So what is this? This is very, very important. Aridity index. Aridity index. If you take this, the rainfall and the aridity index. So if you having more rainfall, definitely your aridity index, aridity in the precipitation by evapotranspiration, potential evapotranspiration is more than one. If you, this is generally, this is the belt. So if you are having more rainfall and less evapotranspiration, your aridity index will be more than one. That clearly observed. If you are having more precipitation and if you are having less evapotranspiration, where it will be? It will be like no evapotranspiration will be less where in eastern side, eastern India, Odisha, uh, Orissa, West Bengal, Assam, precipitation will be more or evapotranspiration will be less. There, the aridity index is more than one. There you can grow more crops. Whereas if you take this left eastern eastern side, Thar desert, what will happen? Precipitation will be less, potential evapotranspiration will be more. That means it is less than one. There you cannot grow most of the crops. So in India, you see the same thing. We are depicting the drought incidences. So as I am mentioning, the eastern belt, there is no limitation of moisture, soil moisture. There is no limitation of rainfall. But what you have to do? You have to store these monsoon rains. Means monsoon rains are from July to October. So these 4 months rainfall you have to store in water harvest structures, farm ponds or village ponds. Then you use that water in the next season to grow 2 crops, 3 crops even. That is possible in this eastern belt, Assam to northeastern belt, and Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and Bihar, and all these places. Whereas in the western parts like Thar Desert, Rajasthan, and all this Gujarat, you don't have sufficient rainfall. So drought incidence is higher. There you have to have some irrigation facilities. You have to construct some big canals, pump water from other areas, bring other water from other river basins. In this water river basins, the water is not available. What you have to do? You have to do some river linking. Nowadays, we are talking about linking of rivers. Link rivers in these water surplus areas from Ganga, Yamuna, and all these places, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar. Then you take that water to these water deficit areas like Rajasthan and Gujarat. Then only you can. So we are having both water surplus areas, like the blue areas, water deficit areas. It is very easy to shift this water from water deficit areas to water surplus areas to water deficit area, but it requires lot of capital. It requires lot of capital. So again, these are some the things which you don't know. Impact of drought on yields of different rainfall crops is huge. Huge. So, for example, there are some droughts in this period droughts. What will happen? Percent reduction. Now, sorghum, how much is 15% is a reduction? Where apple millet 35%, ragi again 35%. If you go to castor, it's again 35. So some years 35, 30 to 35% reduction. But overall, what is happening? Overall, the reduction in the yield due to droughts is reducing. Due to droughts is reducing. Why it is reducing? Because we are using drought tolerant varieties, drought resistant varieties. Government of India or ICAR, state agriculture universities are developing these drought tolerant varieties, some drought tolerant technologies. So because of these technological issues, technological varieties or soil moisture conservation or water harvest structures or watershed programs, overall from 1970 to in the recent years, even though there are some droughts, frequent droughts, our yields are not reducing that much because we are having administrative, we are having technological solutions like water harvest structures, farm ponds we have constructed, watershed management programs, watershed we have constructed. We are having increased our irrigated areas. All these things, because of all these things, we have reduced our vulnerability due to these things. As access to institutional credit by farmers in farm size and irrigation. So another very important issue is whenever there is a drought areas, all the institutional, because drought areas means what? Farmers are poor, people are poor, they don't have any irrigation facility, they don't have any other sources of income. Under those circumstances, government programs like credit, crop insurance has to work well. But the reality is that in the irrigated area, in the dry land areas, government and especially on the small and marginal farmers, effectiveness of the government programs are very much less. The dryland farmers are poor, they are very small and marginal. Under those circumstances, government programs like agricultural credit or crop insurance needs to be effectively implemented. But on the other hand, in reality, in those areas, these programs are not functioning well. They are not reaching to the many farmers and farmers are suffering. And why? Because we are having so many technologies nowadays, like broadband for farm pond technology. We are having crop mulching to conserve water, soil and water conservation methods. We are having a lot of things. But why farmers are not adapting these all methods? Mainly, so if you droughts will occur once in 3 to 4 years. Once in 3 to 4 years. But to construct a farm pond, farmers have to allocate a 1 acre or half an acre of land, particular to build this farm pond. Half an acre or quarter of acre, they have to allocate that land. But the reality is that these droughts will occur only once in 3 to 4 years or 5 years. This is uncertainty. Even without this farm pond, farmers get normal returns in 3 to 4 years. Only in 1 year they will get loss. So that's why farmers they don't want to construct farm ponds in one, allocate that land to farm ponds because it is not useful every year. Loss of land, as I told, if they want to construct some check dams, some farm pond, they have to allocate some land. They don't want to lose that land because every inch of land is precious to farmers, because these farmers are very small farmers having 2 to 3 acres or 4 acre land. They don't want to allocate this farm pond for uh, this farm pond, which is not useful. Water not available when needed, even though you should do dig farm pond and all these things. After that also, if the drought is very serious, even that farm pond will not be filled with water. Not very useful. So because of this type of constraints, all these constraints, how we can overcome? We have to give subsidy. We have to give, government has to give subsidy or free farm ponds, because the benefits from farm ponds, benefits from soil and water conservation measures are very huge. Not only the farmer who benefits it, these farm water harvest structures, these watershed structures are useful for entire village, because in the summer, if you go to any village, if there is a farm pond, if there is a pond, big pond, you see, feel very recreational. There is a lot of biodiversity. The birds will come, lot of, it will helpful for drinking, any for animals, yeah? Livestock, all these ecosystem will benefit from these farm ponds, especially during the summer seasons. So the extra benefits are huge. That's why even the farmer may not be benefiting that much, extra benefit to the society, to the village are much higher. That's why government has to come out with, and with some sort of subsidy schemes. As I mentioned, so these red areas are very drought prone, means the recurring droughts are there in those areas. Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, parts of eastern Madhya Pradesh, and Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. These are all the beds. Whereas the water surplus regions, as I mentioned, the Odisha, the West Bengal, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Northeast. Northeast is too very, the rainfall is 200 mm, 2000 mm, 3000 mm. So that is what. So there is an imbalance within India between among the regional differences. There are huge regional differences for there. So again, these red portions where the government has of India has to come out and develop drought-prone areas, watershed programs, water conservation methods. All these things, government has of India has to come up with this type of things. So, how you can classify a particular village as a drought village or a dryland village? Because in any village, if you go to any village in India, there are some 20 to 30, at least 20 30 households or farmers will have some irrigation facilities. How can you say that this village is dryland village? How can you say? So that, to avoid that type of uncertainties definitions, government of India is came out with some definition. What is the definition? In any village, any block or any district, if less than 30% of area is irrigated, less than 30% of area is irrigated, less than 30%, then it is called rain-fed area, rain-fed village, rain-fed block. What is the benefit of classifying it as a rain-fed agriculture or rain-fed village or rain-fed block? You will get some subsidy. Government can introduce watershed programs. Government can introduce some funds for farm ponds construction, some village ponds construction. So the criteria is that in any village or any block, less than 30% of area is irrigated, then you have to classify that village or that block as a rain-fed village and rain-fed block, and government can introduce water harvest and watershed programs. So based on this definition, these are all the maps. Rain-fed areas, less than 30% irrigated area. This is the mark. Most of the areas in Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, are under this definition. They are all classified as rainfed areas. So I will no. This is Telangana. Unless I told you, unless you come out with some local issues, you will not get any some understanding. So this is Telangana. Generally, Telangana is a rain-fed mostly, but nowadays irrigation is expanded. Now the most predominant crops are paddy in Kharif season, cotton, paddy, cotton, and maize. So this is the cropping pattern. So this you will see again red areas. These red areas you see red areas, red and yellow. They are concentrated in particular western side and triangle shape, having triangle shape. These areas having water scarcity, whereas this blue color shade is having water surplus. Within the state, we are having water scarcity area, water surplus areas. So here it is clearly demarcated. You see the right side graph. You see this greener belt, central Telangana zone. It is having good rainfall. Good, there they can grow a lot of paddy because water surplus is there. Whereas this triangular area, which is crop deficit in rainfall. But during the recent years, 10 years, even these drought areas also, the farmers use it to grow paddy. They are using paddy. They are cultivating paddy because there is a irrigation facility, no doubt. But in addition to that, government of India is giving a lot of subsidies, free electricity to pump whatever the amount, pump whatever this groundwater is there, pump water because electricity is free. Your cost is only drilling the borewell, and once you drill borewell, you put on your switch 24 hours. Whatever the groundwater is there, you can extract. That's why even these dry land areas also farmers are growing paddy because minimum support price is there 2500 per quintal, so farmers can easily get minimum support price assured price. And if you dig sufficient bore wells in your 4-5 acres, you will get at least out of 10 bore wells at least one will be successful. You can pump whatever the amount of water available in the ground aquifer. You can pump out all the water, and water table will go down, and it is environmentally very disastrous. And electricity is free, but somebody is bearing that free electricity. Now, and even for urea, as I told earlier class, urea bag price is only 300 rupees per bag of 45 kg, but the subsidy is about 2000 rupees. 2000 rupees subsidy on each bag, but the urea bag price is only 300 rupees. So they are getting fertilizer subsidy because millets, pulses, oilseeds, you will not use that many urea, but paddy you have to use subsidized 2000 rupees, 3000 rupees urea means 3 bags means how much? 10,000. 10,000 rupees urea subsidy, again remaining water subsidy, again this that is 5,000, and minimum support price again that is a subsidy. So all this together 40,000, 50,000 rupees per hectare subsidy government is giving to these people, and they don't want to change the cropping system because they don't want to move out of paddy. That's what is happening in Punjab, that's what is happening in Haryana, Punjab and Haryana belt. So how to avoid that is a big issue. We have estimated this, I don't want to go into these details. So what are this? These things to be avoided. How to avoid it? In dryland areas, you have to shift cropping pattern from paddy to other crops. To shift paddy to other crops, government India has to give some money, direct benefit transfer, DBT, whatever it is. If you shift, if government of India says that if you give Government of India gives some subsidy. Say paddy farmers are getting, as I mentioned, 40,000 rupees per hectare subsidy. If you shift from paddy to maize, if you shift from paddy to cotton, if Government of India gives some same subsidy, direct money transfer, not as a fertilizer or water, but as a direct benefit transfer, then people may shift. Even Punjab farmers can shift from paddy to other crops or wheat to other crops if they give sufficient incentives, sufficient subsidy, sufficient direct benefit transfer. Even Punjab farmers can shift. But government of India is not giving that subsidy to other crops, to grow other crops. That's why still farmers are growing only paddy and wheat. So that is the issue. But what are the problems of dry land areas? There are so many problems. All these problems we have to we have to uh, address. Only if we address these problems, people may grow more crops, migration will be reduced. So this early drought, generally July first week, rainfall will come, starts. What will happen? July, entire July month, there is no rainfall. Those type of problems will be there in most of the Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. July first week is the monsoon starting, but farmers will sow the anticipation of rains in the July first week. Farmers will sow the seeds, and there will not be any rainfall. There is a delay, early drought. Then what will happen? All the seeds will be damaged. They will not germinate properly. Again, they have to resow the seed with the same crop or different crop. But they have to wasting 10,000 rupees in seed and also wasting for entire month. You cannot grow another 4 5 months duration crop. So that is the thing. Terminal drought. So generally July, August, September, October, 4 months rainfall will be there. If there is no rainfall in the September month, terminal month, what will happen? During the grain filling stage, there is a drought. The yields will be reduced. So these two are main issues, many things. And in addition to early drought and late drought, there are dry and wet spells. Dry spells. Dry spells means after sowing the seed, there is a July, there is a good rainfall. But in the month of August, 15 days dry spell. Your crop will destroy. 15 days dry spell, 15 days, 20 days without any rain, your crop will destroy. Damage, yields will be reduced. Like that, dry spells. Not only 1 month, there is a dry spell of 15 days in August, there is a dry spell of 15 days in September. Again, there is a huge crop loss. This type of things will be there. What are the solutions? Solutions, as I mentioned, in situ soil water conservation. In situ UC means field bonding and all these things. Field bonds, agroforestry, mulching, all these things are in situ. Same field, you conserve water and water. That is called in situ. Same field, if you conserve water, same field in situ. In situ. Soil and water conservation. Same field, you have to conserve water. Bonding, agroforestry, mulching, all this comes under that category. Ex situ, if you are having 5 acre, all the water of 5 acres, rainfall of 5 acres, catchment area, that all water, you direct all this water into farm pond, 1/4 of acre. This all farm pond water, all these 4 5 acres water will be harvested in farm pond, another farm pond. This farm pond, check dams. Check dam means what? Water is there in some other place, but all this water through runoff, it is coming to some place, and there you construct some check dam. That water in other place, other rainfall is stored here. That is called check dam. Water harvest structures, all these are ex situ. Not water is Somewhere else water is stored here. That is called ex situ. In situ is same the field within the field, same field water is stored, that is in situ. Ex situ means rainfall of other area will be stored here, that is called ex situ. Again, you do some of the resistant varieties, agroforestry, use fodder cultivation, livestock cultivation, and micro irrigation. These type of things you can use. You see, this is the after having some landscape treatment watershed program. After watershed program, you see that nowadays so much satellite imaginary is there. Before before water harvest structure, this is the water harvest structure in ICAR. This water after constructing entire cultivate, this area is cultivated greenery. So before this 2019, all are dry. But after this graph, you see February 2020, so everything became green. Next, everything became green means what? Your cropping intensity increased, cropping pattern is improved, your incomes from crops is increased, everything is improved. Similarly, if you construct this water harvest structure, you increase cropping intensity, everything, what happened? Net income increasing, bore wells will become earlier dry bore wells will become wet and they are running up and running. Income from groundwater, income, all the income, cropping pattern, cropping intensity, all this is increasing. Another thing, not only crops, income from buffalo population increase, income from milk yield, dairy farming is increasing, income from employment generation, local employment generation is also taken place. So this similar type of things. So I don't want to go into this. I think my time is out probably.
Yes, can we start the question and queries round, sir?
Yes.
Okay, so participants, I have opened the chat box for everyone. The ones who have any query or interact with sir can in the chat box.
So is okay. Lecture is good. Able to understand. Are you having any doubts?
हेलो।
Ah, yes.
प्रणाम सर।
Tell me, tell me.
सर हम अंकित सिंह वाराणसी से बोल रहे हैं।
हाँ
सर यहाँ के सॉइल में सर जैसे कि सिंचाई करने पर ऊपर वाइट वाइट सर जी आ जा रहा है
हाँ हाँ
और पौधे जो हैं सर एरिका पालम लगे हैं और तो वो पीला ही आ रहा है। गुटिलाइजर गोल्ड नाइट्रोजन फास्फोरस पोटास और ट्रेस मिनरल है उसको सर 3 बार स्प्रे किया गया है, उसके बाद भी जो हरापन आना चाहिए पौधे में नहीं आ रहा है सर जी।
So, okay. Actually, this is basically soil scientist will deal. Soil science. Probably I will direct your course coordinator to listen to pose this question to soil scientist. I am an economist actually. I'm a climate change specialist and economist. But it may be due to the salt, soil salinity probably. But you know I ask organizers your question may be dealt during the soil science lecture.
जी ओके सर।
Yes, there is a possibility that because I told water is crucial, soil moisture is crucial for maintaining soil microbes, microbial diversity, the all the ecosystem diversity. Water is very important. If you are not having water in the soil, 3 4 months of summer season, definitely most of the soil microbes, insects, beneficial insects, all this will be destroyed, and that will definitely having lot of harmful effects on agriculture, ecosystem. It is very, very crucial to maintain that thread of soil moisture, at least in mm, majority of the period in a season. So we can.
Sir, I think they are all done with their queries.
uh,
So thank you so much, sir, on the behalf of everyone
Thank
for
you, thank you,
delivering such a thoughtful lecture on climate change, sir.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. So now, participants, moving further, I would like to invite our next esteemed guest, Dr. Veer Singh, sir. So before we start, I would like to introduce sir with you all. Sir Keti Bariwala is a seasoned hydroponics professional with nearly 20 years of experience in urban agriculture, crop management, and high-tech farming. Hydroponic cell expertise includes establishing a pilot project at Dabur India Limited with advanced techniques like rectangular greenhouses and the nutrient film technique. He developed protocols for crops such as lettuce, cherry tomatoes, and herbs, and innovative supply chain system to enhance shelf life. Clean hydroponics project for Satsui Farm, supporting commercial farming operations. So I welcome you, sir, on the behalf of everyone here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. And yeah, extremely sorry again. I was late by 5 minutes.
It's okay, sir.
Yeah. So, shall I go ahead or any further?
Yes, sir. Continue the session.
That's great. So, this is just where I left last time. It was some farm. Today, I'm at my home, back to home. So, as we agreed, there are two parts of looking for any kind of commercial farming. So हम जो बात करने वाले हैं आज, we are going to have some query or something like knowledge sharing session in terms of what you are looking for. So to be very honest, sharing a kind of a knowledge that okay, this thing is required to achieve that basic farming of hydroponics, or if we talk about high-tech farming, if we talk about even the vertical farming, and there is no doubt or confusion that this is going to be the future, and specifically for the urban farming. So as I agreed, and we all want that, okay, out of these 126 participants, it is a good number, I would be able to address some of the queries which you are carrying about any kind of hydroponic growing system, indoor vertical farm, commercial farming, and why these all required, and what are those challenges, and even what is the heart of this, the success for these type of commercial venture. So I request organizers to allow the participants who are looking for some of their query, some of their struggle. So
Yes,
let's
sir, I
start
have
with,
opened
yeah,
the
go ahead.
chat box. I have opened the chat box for everyone. The ones who want to interact with sir and have any queries, they can put down in the chat box only.
Yes, and even if required, so you may allow them to speak also.
Sure,
And
sir.
yeah,
The ones who will be raising their hands for the query
yeah,
and interact session. I will
that's
unmute
great.
one by one.
That's great. Till the time we get the query, let's try to understand the Indian agriculture, and the sector what we are talking about is kind of a high-tech farming, and there is no doubt, there is no confusion that everybody is looking for safe, healthy, and nutritious food. And how this indoor farming, let's take a one question from my side, and later on whoever is there, the moderator is going to interrupt me and put forward the question. So the most important question, because now I have migrated from only hydroponics to indoor vertical farming, and not migrated, is a kind of a basket expanded from a one assured quality. Why we want to go for a hydroponic? Because most of these contamination, source of contamination is either soil, though I'm not saying that the soil is not good. However, these high-tech farming or urban farming, or even kind of peri-urban farming, is basically focusing on the produce which people are consuming as a raw. So it's all are green. And if we go to any kind of a doctor for their advice, they are saying that, okay, you have to increase the basket or percentage or ratio of your green to green. And yes, the first step is hydroponic, where we are trying to eliminate most of those sources of contamination, because if soil is not there, so any heavy metal, any pesticide or a chemical residue, or any kind of even pathogen like E. coli, like in cabbage, the tapeworm. So that we are at least minimizing, not eliminating, but it's a first step of getting the safe food. The second is the water. The contaminated water, there is no means doubt to say there is source of contamination in terms of whatever the leached water or the groundwater, that is somehow being reduced, or the risk is minimized by treating that with the RO water. And the quality and healthy food is the target, and hydroponic technique of growing crop is enabling the grower to achieve that level. However, the profitability again is if we could achieve the 100% off-season crop on profitable way, or the ROI should be in such a way that yes, this produce is healthy, assured quality, and it will gradually build the trust of those who are looking for the quality produce. And for them, it is not difficult to identify what is coming from there. So if we want to overcome the extremes of climatic condition, first, the hydroponic technique is eliminating the sources of contamination by which we can even extend the growing cycle. But we cannot grow 100% crop during off season. So to address this, to overcome this, the indoor vertical farm is one of the options by which we can produce off-season crop. The challenge with us is how to optimize the cost, how to bring the technology for utilizing the resources in an efficient way, so we can achieve what we are looking for, the assured quality at affordable price. So now I'll just, maybe the question is there. How does dissolved oxygen impact root development in hydroponics? Yes, This is, maybe you can allow the moderator, Madhvi can allow
Sure,
Devbatra
sir.
Chatterjee to speak. So then I'll take up that. That's really a good question because it's a heart. Yeah, Devbatra. Okay. So maybe I'll just respond on that question. See, ultimately, if okay, so take it another way. Pranavayu is oxygen. And if you see, like in hydroponics or in any kind of a growing system, the root, they only perform the respiration. And respiration required and the oxygen content. And dissolved oxygen content in hydroponic is the most important thing, where if the roots are struggling to breathe, to maintain, and especially the root hair, which is a continuous process in every 24 hours, the new root hair, new cells which are there for absorbing the nutrient. So only the newly formed root hairs, they are capable of absorbing the nutrient. And in absence of dissolved, or if the root, or if anybody will struggle to breathe, to not be able to maintain their kind of food requirement, because plant, they are capable of producing their own food. However, the below ground part, the root, they only utilize that food because of only doing the respiration. And the symptoms in hydroponic, and this is during the high temperature, because if you see the normal temperature, the saturation level of oxygen particles are 6 to 8 ppm, or maximum 10 ppm is a saturation level. And there is a kind of negative correlation between temperature increase and the dissolved oxygen content level. So जैसे जैसे पानी का टेम्परेचर बढ़ेगा, आपका डिजोल्व ऑक्सीजन कंटेंट कम होगा। एंड फाइनली अगर हम बात करें, तो पौधे को अगर ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिलेगी, तो पौधे का जड़, they will struggle. And if they will struggle, so they will even in some of the cases वो मरने लगती हैं, and the symptom looks like root rot disease. And by doing this fungal treatment, we can only kill those fungus which are developed because of decaying root, not because of the lack of oxygen. So it is kind of what does I say? Oxygen role in hydroponic, dissolved oxygen content in hydroponic is crucial just to make और healthy root development. So supply source जो मुंह है वो healthy होगा, तो आपका पौधा भी healthy होगा. But yes, there is a new technique which is called as a nano oxy bubbles, which is kind of tiny bubbles which suspend in running water or hydroponic nutrient solution, and ensuring that the saturation level is always there. And even because these tiny particles, the impact of temperature is not that severe as the normal oxygen bubble. Even by doing the oxygen concentrate dissolving oxygen with the using oxygen concentrator, is also the size matters. So nano oxy bubble are one of the option by which you can ensure the desired, the minimum, at least the minimum desired level of dissolved oxygen content, and the impact of temperature is least And the final thing is सैचुरेशन लेवल से भी 200 से 300 गुना ज्यादा ऑक्सीजन कंटेंट नैनो ऑक्सी बबल्स के फॉर्म में रह सकता है. होप आई मैनेज टू सेटिस्फाई द क्वेरी. मिस्टर चौधरी, देव बत्रा चौधरी. Okay, Manish Kumar is saying, if sir, we use organic nutrient solution and organic instant material for providing to plant in hydroponic system, then we can say that the plants produce organic yield. Aha, that's good, Manish. Manisha, sorry. Manisha, the question is really, really good. However, this is really a controversial kind of statement. If we'll provide an organic nutrient, source of nutrient is organic, then my produce is going to be organic. So here my take is, organic is one of the kind of produce. However, are we looking for organic produce or we are looking for a healthy produce? That's the first question. My answer is we are looking for healthy produce. Second question we need to answer is, what is the source of nutrient? Say, for example, if you study the urea, it's an amide fertilizer, and it is one of the fertilizer having carbon, and there is no raw material except the natural gas. The process of making urea is such that there is no raw material required, only the atmospheric nitrogen and the natural gas carbon. So again, organic source of nutrient and organic source of fertilizer, if you consider the minerals or all those stones or all those nutrients, they are either coming from air or coming from this kind of rocks. It's only the process of converting into fertilizer, and then there are inert material which is creating a trouble. However, if I may conclude on that source of nutrient, so plant, they are only absorbing ionic source of nutrition. So instead of indulging that whether it is organic or inorganic, let's start working on supplying the balanced nutrition and ensure that whatever the produce is coming out of your hydroponic or indoor on vertical farm is free from any kind of a nutritional imbalance. So here the heart, the EC and pH, electrical conductivity, which is the combination of all essential nutrient ratio. And again, if we are, Manisha is referring something kind of organic compost or vermicompost or vermiwash or any kind of organic input, this requires microbial activities, and in hydroponics, we don't have sufficient food for those microbes. So if we'll allow that microbes, then there will be a competition for specific nitrogen. The source of nitrogen is going to be a issue or the point of conflict. So if there is no microbe and you are applying even any vermiwash, so how these organic source, which is still in a complex form, convert into a kind of ionic or usable form is a challenge. And believe me, it's not the source of nutrition, source of fertilizer. It's the ratio and right application of these nutrients are the key for giving the desired result. And hydroponics or urban farming or vertical farming, indoor farming. This all is kind of a precise farming where you need to be very precise if you are growing any crop for any purpose. So you need to know that what should be my fertilizer recipe. And yes, one more caution: never use any soil grade fertilizers like urea, specifically the urea, which required a hydrolysis process. So urea to ammonium, ammonium to ammonium ion, and then nitrite, nitrate, and the nitrate source is stable and available for the plants. So if all these micro and this whole hydrolysis reaction is enzymatic or driven by a certain enzyme like urease, and every step is required a minimum of one microbe. So if that is absent, so it is not going to give you the desired result. And specifically, if the conversion from nitrite to nitrate is not happening, the level of the concentration of nitrite is becoming a kind of killing agent, because it is really a dangerous. If the concentration of a nitrite ions are more than 50 ppm, it will kill plant root and the plant will suffer negatively. So, Manisha, focus on the fertilizer recipe, right use of that particular nutrient ratio, and then, yes, definitely all the microclimate around the root zone. Because if we remember, hydroponic is nothing. It is a technique to create an ideal microclimate around the root zone in terms of temperature, in terms of nutrient availability, in terms of aeration, in terms of even other water holding capacity. So all these factors are need to be aligned as per the plant requirement. So focus on the quality, not the source. And the bottom line is, whenever anybody is using or getting produce from your hydroponic farm, he must be 200% sure that it is safe and healthy with zero kind of a residue impact. Okay, so next time, Swati. Does hydroponic produce has the same nutritive quality? Aha, that's a good one. If I may ask, Swati, what promotes or the thought behind this, that whether it is equally nutritious or different? So if you can allow, raise your hand, and moderator will allow you to speak. I need to understand that what is the background of your thought. Then the answer will be more accurate.
I'm trying to unmute Swati, sir,
Yeah,
but
Swati. Swati, are you there? And meantime,
no.
allow me to put my computer on.
Is it audible, sir?
Yes, go ahead. Tell me.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good
Sir,
evening.
as we are not using soil, so just a question popped up in my mind, like there are so many things in soil. So if we are applying this, like without soil, some nutritions and all, so whether it is equally nutritious as like we grow normal crops or not?
Okay. So, what is your background? You are agri graduate or what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So, I'm sure that you know that criteria of essentiality of our essential nutrient.
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So, that is one of the major advantage of hydroponics. Okay. If you are capable enough to understand the dynamic nature of soil, because if you see what the nature of soil, or how do you define a soil एक तो धरती माँ बोलते हैं, and it is absolutely playing a role of mother land. But if you go for a scientific definition, the soil is a living natural body which is dynamic in nature. So it is a natural means all it's there is no way you can create or develop a soil, because it's a long process. And why it is a living? Because there is continuous gaseous exchange. Okay, so always there is a gaseous exchange because a lot of microorganisms are there. And then third, the dynamic means every second the nature of particular soil or particular place of soil is changing. Maybe it is because of a root exude, maybe it is because of a higher use of fertilizer, maybe it is a salt, maybe it is a microbes or whatever. So if a grower is capable of efficiently managing these kind of a dynamic nature of soil, so yeah, it's good. Go for a soil cultivation. Coming back to your question, this is my practical experience, and we with the similar thought, even we analyze our spinach, hydroponic spinach, organic spinach, plus even the traditional soil grown spinach. So all these essential nutrients are there, and because of that, the nutritive value in terms of the total content is always better. Having said that, majorly the nutrient content depend on the cycle time from harvest or farm to plate. That also deteriorate very fast. So if we are growing our crop with 100% control, then definitely what you are looking for, it is going to be there. Protein, fat, mineral, vitamins. So what else? And if you have a better control, then even you can play around with your fertilizer recipe to fortify your crop. सो अगर ये आ रहा है कि हाँ जी उस थॉट प्रोसेस से कि 52 या 65 या कितने ढेर सारे न्यूट्रिएंट होते हैं, माइक्रोब उसको डाइजेस्ट करता है, एंड इसकी वजह से प्लांट में जो हाइड्रोपोनिक में तो सिर्फ न्यूट्रिशन और पानी से ग्रो करते हैं. सो इट दिस इज डेफिनेटली अ काइंड ऑफ प्रिसीजन वी नीड टू बी. The moment we apply our nutrient in a precise ratio and quantity, your crop is going to be much better. And ये बताने की जरूरत नहीं है, हाइड्रोपोनिक में जब आप ग्रो करते हैं तो एटलीस्ट जो सोर्स ऑफ कंटामिनेशंस हैं वो आपके कंट्रोल में है. और अगर आपने सूरज की रोशनी को भी कंट्रोल किया, बिकॉज देयर आल्सो अ प्रिसीजन रिक्वायर्ड. Why my greenhouse, why my crop during off season, especially leafies or any kind of a crop in hydroponics are struggling? Because of the extreme weather. So we do have a plenty of light. However, if we can also control specific requirement of plant, अभी तो आपके यहाँ लाइट जो आती है वो 100% जो नेचुरल लाइट है वो आ रही है. इंडोर में जाने के बाद मई जून में भी you will get the same crop if you are controlling the weather, the spectrum, the cooling. And really now it's the time when we should start thinking, yes, the nutritive value is going to be much superior, क्योंकि वो कड़वापन भी नहीं आएगा आपके रेड लोलोरोसो में अगर गर्मी में आप कर रहे हो ऑफ सीजन में, चाहे जहां, इवन हाइड्रोपोनिक, ओपन और कहीं पे भी. गॉट इट स्वाति? Anyway, so maybe you can just show the thumbs up. So, Seema, is it profitable as it required a more investment? See, that is something like, yes, अच्छी चीज के लिए भाई देखिए इन्वेस्टमेंट तो ज्यादा लगेगा, बट अल्टीमेटली व्हाट इज द पर्पस? अब ये अगर आप सोचो कि हाँ जी इन्वेस्टमेंट लगा के हम ऐसा कुछ काम करते हैं जिसमें लोगों को कॉम्पीट करना मुश्किल होगा नॉर्मल ओपन फील्ड से, so then definitely the market is first. And believe me, आज मार्केट में जो प्रॉब्लम है दैट इज द द लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट, कि हम ऑर्गेनिक बता रहे हैं या हम हेल्दी बता रहे हैं या न्यूट्रिशियस बता रहे हैं, बट यस व्हाट इज द गारंटी, व्हाट इज द एश्योरिटी? सो लेट्स वर्क ऑन दैट. एंड अगर ये प्रॉफिटेबल नहीं होता, अगर इन्वेस्टमेंट ज्यादा नहीं लगता, तो भाई इट्स इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर टू जस्ट ऑप्ट फॉर द नॉर्मल. कोई भी कर सकता है, बट यहाँ पे अगेन कमिंग बैक कि जो बफरिंग एजेंट, जो माँ का काम करने वाली मिट्टी है, दैट इज मिसिंग. सो एज अ ग्रोवर यू हैव टू प्ले दैट रोल. एंड कहीं पे भी इट शुड नॉट लाइक यस कि हमारा कहीं पे भी कुछ अगर फ्लैक्चुएशन हुआ तो उसका रिफ्लेक्ट, उसका इम्पैक्ट यू एज अ ग्रोवर विल हैव टू एक्सेप्ट. और इन्वेस्टमेंट ज्यादा है, बट साथ में प्रोडक्शन भी ज्यादा है, क्वालिटी भी ज्यादा है, एंड साथ में यू आर एश्योरिंग द क्वालिटी. एंड मैं कभी कभी कहता हूं इट्स रियली अ कॉज फॉर सोसाइटी. आज थोड़े पैसे लगा के आप हेल्दी खाओ. ग्रेन, no doubt grain is important part, but grain say green means not green only, the multicolor fresh raw eating habit will at least reduce the risk what you is the most of these health issues. और अगर आप सोचो 90% लोगों ने just because of tapeworm incident or risk in cabbage, जो कि केवल उन्हीं एरिया में होता है जहां पे पिग ड्रॉपिंग, बिकॉज दिस इज स्पेसिफिकली एन इंसेक्ट और वर्म विच इज एन आउटकम फॉर अ पिग ड्रॉपिंग. और अगर वो नहीं है तो आपका कैबेज में वो इश्यू नहीं होगा. हाउएवर घर में कैबेज लाना लोगों ने छोड़ दिया, हरा कैबेज खाना छोड़ दिया जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट इंसिडेंट. So that is the kind of a cause we can, it's that is the reason we should work on these type of techniques and ensure that कि आज अच्छा खाओ. Definitely doctor is the next to the god. However very simple, आज की जो requirement हमारे country में है, because the population is such, everybody cannot afford that cost. Second, the infrastructure is not that capable of addressing all the need of all medical emergency. So if we can contribute for that, even consider that yes, this is one of the cause by which we can contribute for hydroponic. पैसे तो हर एक आदमी लगाता है. So yes, Seema, this is initially cost capital intensive. However, we need to be very clear that what we are looking to achieve. Okay. Satya, sir, is there any government support in market these hydroponic products? हाइड्रोपोनिक प्रोडक्ट का मार्केटिंग के लिए तो गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट नहीं है. हाउएवर द गुड पार्ट इज you should thank government of India plus the secretary who is handling this initiative of Agri Infra Fund as well as Horticulture Division. They considered and even the second bill in Parliament was for this purpose only. Now this hydroponic is comes under government subsidy also in infrastructure part. Other things, maybe it is going to be implemented from the next financial year. However, the budget and the guideline is already approved. So one is add-on cost. So whatever is add-on cost, suppose you are putting a hydroponic, a greenhouse, and you are putting some specific hydroponic equipment. So there are some guideline which says that you can get this add-on subsidy on this hydroponic growing. And second, in Agri Infra Fund, initially it was for only group. Now it is for Now it is allowed for individual growers also. So I'm sure that you know what is the way and how you can get avail these subsidies. So yes, the new initiative government is promoting because they know this is one of the safe food, and safe food means healthy population, and health and happiness is everybody is looking for. And then Pranav, subsidy for making an hydroponic farm. Yep, that's the only thing I was talking about. However, yes, there are efforts where we can, government is working on how to ensure the quality and healthy produce. So the norms on FSI part or quality aspect is going to be strengthened or thoda or tough hoga. So yeah, healthy foods regulation definitely aayega. However, healthy food is going to be the future, and at least the greens, not the grains. Going forward, yes, for grains bhi hoga, but whatever we are consuming as a raw need to be much safer. And hopefully, we are going to share soon our one of the indoor farm analysis result, where we are going to test all MRL as per FSI, heavy metals, pathogen, nutritive value, and one more aspect. So these analysis, we are going to get result within maybe a couple of days. And then, yes, with the assurance, yes, it is an indoor and everything is controlled. So no worry for any kind of harmful impact of these produce. Okay. Can cabbages also grown in hydroponic technology? Hey, Sweta. This question, I think, shall I answer, or other participant may try? Who want to give a try? What are the crops which we can grow in hydroponics? No? Anyway, so Sweta, ultimately, we need to understand that what is hydroponics and which part of the plant is directly and indirectly associated with this technology. Okay. So if we talk about cabbage or any crop, so there are two microclimates. One is around the root and another is the shoot. So hydroponic is associated and linked with root only, directly and indirectly, because the supply source is strong. Raw material is available all the time, and the roots are healthy, happy, and enjoying. So the shoot, the output, the net photosynthate, though I'm not saying that only factor is hydroponic or healthy root is, there are n number of other factors which contributes. However, considering other parameter constant, hydroponics, if the root are healthy, then definitely the shoot and the crop are going to give you the healthy result. So if again how shall we understand this hydroponic as a technique? It is a technique to create or enable the grower to create ideal microclimate around the root zone. सो अगर ये रूट जोन के आसपास एक टेक्निक है जिसमें कि ऑप्टिमल लेवल एंड प्रिसाइज एप्लीकेशन प्रिसाइज पैरामीटर कंट्रोल इज, then you can grow cabbage, you can grow even orchard crop also. However, अब इस हाइड्रोपोनिक के सक्सेस में ऐसा हमने कहा कि हाँ जी चलो हाइड्रोपोनिक में तो कुछ भी ग्रो कर सकती हो, इसके सक्सेस के एनेबलर ये होते हैं कि आपको उसका दो पार्ट जो होता है, एक होता है हार्डवेयर और एक होता है सॉफ्टवेयर.
So your voice is not audible.
या somehow ये ट्रबल आसपास में आती रहती है. नाउ माय इंटरनेट हैज गिवन मी अ टेक्निकल ग्लिच. सो अब एक तो हार्डवेयर हो गया, एक सॉफ्टवेयर हो गया. सॉफ्टवेयर में व्हाट आर दोज फैक्टर्स, विच क्रॉप, which variety, when to plant, क्या टेम्परेचर, क्या ह्यूमिडिटी, क्या न्यूट्रिएंट रेसिपी, क्या न्यूट्रिएंट रेशियो. सो ऑल दोज थिंग्स कम अंडर सॉफ्टवेयर. और अब विदाउट हैविंग द, और इसको सॉफ्टवेयर को एक इनडायरेक्टली बोले तो क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन प्रोटोकॉल. आप कैबेज ग्रो या एनी क्रॉप ग्रो कर सकते हो, बट आपको उसका क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन प्रोटोकॉल नीड टू बी एस्टैब्लिश्ड. ओके, सो अगर आपने पूरे तरीके से उसका क्रॉप प्रोडक्शन प्रोटोकॉल एस्टैब्लिश कर लिया तो देन डेफिनेटली इट इज लिटिल टाइम टेकिंग. हाउएवर यस, यू कैन ग्रो योर क्रॉप. एंड इवन अगर आप देखो एक के बाद एक नई नई क्रॉप ऐड होती जा रही है. सैफरन ग्रो कर सकते हैं, ब्लूबेरी ग्रो कर सकते हैं, स्ट्रॉबेरी ग्रो कर सकते हैं, इवन जुकनी ग्रो कर सकते हैं. देयर आर एन नंबर ऑफ क्रॉप्स, बट यस थोड़ा मेहनत तो करनी पड़ेगी भाई. ओके श्वेता, so your thumbs up. And yes, those who are agree, no issue. Those who have still some doubt, I would be happy to answer. Okay. Okay, tell something about aeroponic towers. Okay. Pranab again. Pranab, can you just be very specific that what is specifically you're looking for? Aeroponic tower, is it a how efficient this is, whether it is commercially viable or it is a in commercial farm, shall we opt for that or not? So if you can clarify, so maybe moderator allow Pranab to speak.
So Pranab, please kindly unmute yourself.
Pranab, can you hear me? Anyway, so let me try to answer this. Aeroponic is again technically more complex, and even specifically the tower plus aeroponics. So yeah, efficiency wise, it is much more, because these fine bubbles, they are directly reaching out to the root hairs, and absorption makes much easier. So in terms of efficiency, in terms of root effort to absorb, or even surface area of a contact with the nutrient solution, or even the spray, or that something like fog, is much higher. However, the challenge in tower is getting optimal level of your moisture and sunlight and other factors. Because what happens, if you have a kind of a system which is getting exposed to one side for sunlight, and even in artificial light also, it is really difficult to handle these type of a towers instead of handling a flat bed. So yes, it is a kind of more efficient system, but commercially, thoda we have to see how efficiently we can manage, and what the return, kind of a return we are getting, not in terms of money, in terms of a total biomass, and in terms of qualitative aspect of the crop. So that's the only suggestion and input for Pranab. And if he's having any kind of a specific question, I would be happy to answer. And then next is again Manisha. Lettuce, spinach, coriander, tomato, and many more. We can grow in hydroponic. Yes, sir. How to grow potatoes in hydroponic growing system? Okay. Potatoes, not only potatoes. Let's take all tuber and root crop. So वहीं पे कहीं ना कहीं खेती बाड़ी करने वाले का एक क्या बोले, टेक्निकल स्किल और नॉलेज नहीं, स्किल की जरूरत पड़ती है. सी पोटैटोज ऑल्सो यू कैन, अब देखो इसमें भी, चलो एक थोड़ा और पीछे जाते हैं. There are different types of growing system in hydroponics. Maybe you can unmute Manisha. So if she differ anywhere, definitely, or even any participants who differ what I'm saying, definitely need to be, at least अभी बोलोगे तो solution मिलेगा, बाद में बोलोगे फिर again we have to look for a next session. Okay, so any root or tuber crop, जैसा मैंने बताया कि there is a hardware, the growing system. Hydroponic का types or different types of hydroponics is categorized based on the requirement of crop as well as the microclimate or a climatic condition. So all short duration, single harvest crop, or sometimes the multi-harvest crop, the good growing system is NFT. And then in an area where there is an extreme of weather, मतलब बहुत ज्यादा, जैसे दिल्ली में, नॉर्थ इंडिया में बहुत ज्यादा हाई टेम्परेचर भी होता है, बहुत लो टेम्परेचर भी होता है, ह्यूमिडिटी हाई होती है, even sometime it is total sunlight, day sunshine hours, that also, but that is a very small duration. So ऐसे extreme climate में, specifically for a temperature, high temperature variability वाले area में, deep water culture is always preferred because उसमें volume of water ज्यादा. So even short duration, majorly single harvest, and some of these leafy, which is multi-harvest too, NFT is always preferred over any kind of DWC. However, जहाँ पे टेम्परेचर एक्सट्रीम या वेदर और क्लाइमेटिक एक्सट्रीम ज्यादा है, वहाँ पे डीप वाटर कल्चर इज द प्रिफर्ड टेक्नोलॉजी और प्रिफर्ड टाइप ऑफ अ ग्रोइंग सिस्टम, हाइड्रोपोनिक ग्रोइंग सिस्टम. Why? Because the volume of water is higher, and any fluctuation around the root zone in terms of a temperature, in terms of a dissolved oxygen content, in terms of a nutrient content, will take a little longer time. And again, if you see, how do we select this? The technology itself, the hydroponic technique itself says creating ideal microclimate. However, अगर हम नॉर्थ इंडिया में देखते हैं, people are, because of this algae issue and biological oxygen demand issue, because if algae or microbes are increasing, then it's mean they are going to compete with that 6 ppm level of dissolved oxygen content. So that's one. Second, all crops which are long duration, which are having a wider root area, means leaf, compound leaf area, means total leaf area. सो एक बेसिक कॉन्सेप्ट कहा जाता है कि जितना प्लांट का बायोमास होगा उतना ही रूट का बायोमास होगा. द सेम फिलोसफी देयर, बट इस सिस्टम में दैट, if I say that yes, it is equal, yeah, it is not that equal. However, because the nutrient availability is always there and precise, so root biomass is lesser than even your leafy vegetable. However, the requirement of dissolved oxygen content in and around roots are always higher than short duration crop, and all those crops need to be grown in soilless hydroponic with inert growing media. Okay, अब यहाँ पे दूसरा जो चैलेंज होता है, we need to understand the pattern. Any root crop, if इसमें दूसरे तरीके से समझते हैं, इसमें अगर रूट क्रॉप जो होती है वो आलसी टाइप वाली होती है, फैट बढ़ता है. तो फैट तब तक नहीं बढ़ता जब तक उसको आप स्ट्रगल नहीं कराते हो. यहाँ पे उल्टा होता है, जब तक वो खाता रहेगा, पत्ती बनाता रहेगा, एंड नेट फोटोसिंथेट विल ऑलवेज बी डाइवर्टेड टुवर्ड्स मोर लीफ, तो नाइट्रोजन बनता रहेगा, बॉडी बिल्डिंग होती रहेगी. और जैसे ही वो स्ट्रेस में जाएगा, आपका प्रोटीन की जगह ये एक काइंड ऑफ बेसिक मैकेनिज्म है, एंड दिस इज द रियली अ पीकुलर नेचर का क्वालिटी है, कि जैसे ही उस पौधे को लगेगा कि भाई अब मेरा आराम का टाइम खत्म हो गया, देन इट विल स्टार्ट डाइवर्टिंग देयर फूड टू सिंक. जैसे ही वो स्ट्रगल, और स्ट्रगल कैसे आएगा? You have to reduce your irrigation, you have to reduce your nutrient availability, and try it. You will see, you will get a much better quality of any root crop. And even potato में जो tuber होता है, that also you can get from aeroponics. So try it. There are different ways of doing that. Even टमाटर के ऊपर ग्राफ्टिंग करके पोटैटो का प्लांट, उसके ऊपर आपने टमाटर या अदर एनी काइंड ऑफ इवन दिस ब्रिंजल और एनी क्रॉप, कंपेटिबल क्रॉप, आपने उसमें ग्राफ्टिंग करोगे तो ऊपर टमाटर भी फलेगा, नीचे आलू भी निकलेगी. अगेन, स्टोर रूट में तभी होगा जब उसको थोड़ा लगेगा कि भाई अब मैं खतरे में हूं, चलो अपना खाना बना के रख लेता हूं. तो दैट्स द वे दिस, अदरवाइज वो अपना पत्तियां ही बनाता रहेगा. Hope, Manisha, I managed to answer your question. So another few minutes. Okay. Mushroom farming under protected cultivation. We'll take up that next time. Strawberry. Somebody want to say that Ankit Singh is saying strawberry farming under protected cultivation. It's a very, very broad question. However, yes, it is possible. Now we are working on even multi or ever bearing kind of varieties. Second, strawberry grow karna is not the challenge. However, मेरा unit economics कैसे match करना है, that is the thing which we need to understand. So yeah, now I think whatever the questions were there, I managed to answer. And yeah, again, this floor is open for any further question. Over to moderator.
Sir, I don't think any question or any query left with the participants.
Mhm. So then we should thank you very much to the organizers. And yes, hope I managed to motivate some of these participants to proceed further on this kind of a technique. I'll be happy to share any kind of a further queries. And believe me, this is the way forward. And the most crucial and important thing is this is a kind of emerging sector within agriculture sector where initially it was only traditional farming in terms of output, agri output means जो पैदावार होता था, अभी एक नया सेक्टर इवॉल्व हो रहा है, that is a urban farming. And the best part is the uniqueness is they are complementary to each other. They are not competing with each other because traditional farming is still focusing on the grains and all, and urban farming is primarily trying to address the the supply of fresh green and whatever the vegetable, fruit and berries one can consume raw. So yes, वो जो 80-20 का रेशियो की बात होती है कि 80 रॉ खाओ या 60 या 40 रॉ खाओ, तो ये वो सेगमेंट है. एंड यस, ये पढ़े लिखों की खेती है और दिस इज गोइंग टू गिव बूस्ट दैट यस, किसान एक प्राउड किसान बन सकता है with the support of this urban and traditional farming coming together and making this venture or the sector as a proud sector, like already in developed country people are means something like proud growers. And जो farmers वहाँ के होते हैं, growers होते हैं, they feel like yeah, I'm just something like a very important part of our society. So let's take a pledge or take a kind of initiative and deliver that. Yes, ये खेती भी भारत में पॉसिबल है. चलो, एक जो जय जवान जय किसान जय विज्ञान, तो वैज्ञानिक खेती करते हैं एंड जिसका जो रोल है वो रोल प्ले करते हैं. With those words, thank you all participants. I'm always available for these type of knowledge. Maybe कभी थोड़ी देर हो जाएगी, but yeah, I'll definitely respond. So
Sir,
over
thank
to
you so much on the behalf of each participant here for joining us and giving your presence today and like for interacting with our participants, sir.
yeah. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, sir. So, participants, this is the end of the session. You may leave the meeting now.